type 1 diabetes since November 5th, 2007 when I was 8. Today for this video, I first want to thank you for coming, but I really want to focus on doing a site change. So for anyone asking, a site change is something that a type 1 diabetic usually does once a week to refill the insulin in their insulin pump. For this task, you will need the following items: your insulin pump, infusion set, reservoir, alcohol swabs, insertion devices, prescribed insulin, in my case I have Humalog, and adhesive. So I have Skin Tack since this is the best type of adhesive for my skin type. You will first want to rewind your pump so that it is ready to receive the insulin. Depending on your pump type, it will require a different step, but for those using the Medtronic 630G or 670G, you will need to go into your menu and go to reservoir and tubing. After going to reservoir and tubing, select new reservoir. Then press rewind. While your pump is rewinding, you can go ahead and prep your insulin. So as you can see, this vial of insulin is very clear, not cloudy, which means it is ready to use and not expired. While prepping insulin, you will first need to clean off the top of the vial with an alcohol swab. If your insulin is very cold still from being in the refrigerator, make sure to rub it together in your hands like so to warm it up so it will be easier to transfer into the reservoir and therefore get into your body. After you've cleaned off your vial, you can now transfer your insulin into the reservoir. So I will take this out of the package like so. To put the insulin into the reservoir, you'll first need to pull the reservoir all the way until it reaches the bottom line. After it is all the way at the bottom, you can then use the big end of this needle to attach to the vial. Make sure it is snapped on when the vial is attached so that there is no way that the insulin cannot get through. Once everything is connected, you'll push down the plunger until all of the air is out of the reservoir, as you can see, and you will do a quick flip. Sometimes insulin will start to seep through. What we'll do is go ahead and push the reservoir up so there's no air left in the reservoir, as you can see. When all the air is out of the reservoir, we will continue to pull down until it is full or to our desired level of insulin. So I'm going to actually fill this one. And once the reservoir is full, you will tap it for air bubbles. Sometimes, as you can see, from the top, there is a small space where insulin has not gotten to yet. From there, we will push the plunger back up and then pull back down to our desired location. And there, your reservoir is full. Now, to disconnect your reservoir and to get it ready to put into your insulin pump, you will twist the top needle to the right. So this blue needle right here, twist it and pull up. To disconnect the plunger, you will twist off like so. Now, to disconnect your needle from your insulin vial, you will just simply twist and pull. Next, we'll connect our insulin tubing to the reservoir. So take off all of the extra papers that may be attached, and the small end of the tubing you'll connect to the top of the reservoir. So you'll push down, twist, push down, and turn. Make sure you hear or feel the click of the reservoir and the top of the tubing to make sure that it's connected properly. After your tubing and your reservoir are connected, you will then connect the reservoir into the insulin pump. So since we rewinded the pump before, there's enough space for the whole reservoir to go to the bottom, and you will turn until it clicks, or until you can't turn anymore. All right, nice, we're almost done. Now that the reservoir is loaded into the insulin pump, your pump is ready to load the reservoir. We'll click next after you read the prompts. And the pump will begin to fill. For this screen, you are looking for droplets out of the insulin pump. All right, as you can see, some insulin has already dropped from the tubing, so the tubing is ready to go. Next, you'll prepare to adhere the insulin site to your body. So commonly, insulin sites are done on your abdomen, your legs, your buttocks, your sides, sometimes on your arms, depending on where you're most comfortable. For this step, you will need to seat your site into the serter. In this case, I have this blue serter for those of you who have seen it before, but you will just push it down until it's secure, it's in a line with the serter, and you will peel back all of the extra stickies and paper to unreveal this needle. All right, from there we will seat the site in the serter, so push it down a few times to make sure it's in there sturdily. Then the last time you'll pull all the way down till it clicks. From there, you'll use your skin tack or whatever adhesive that you may have and find a proper site to stick your insulin site to. Personally, I am a person who prefers to do it on their abdomen. for sites since it's easier for me to access. So I will go ahead and use an alcohol swab and wipe off my injection site, which I'll put right here for this time. And once the alcohol is cleaned up and dried up, you'll use your adhesive. So you'll just put the adhesive over where you just put the alcohol. And you will also let that dry. And then you will grab your inserter and inject. Then when what's injected, you'll push the top button and release. The blue needle that's injected, you will then hold the site down and pull the needle straight out. And there's your new insulin site. A lot of times, it works a lot better to go back with your adhesive and run over the cloth part of the site to help it stick better. After adherence, you will then go back to your pump and choose fill for fill cannula. And depending on what size of tubing you have will vary, but for my tubing, I have 0.3 amount of insulin that will fill my cannula. So once that is taken care of, I press fill now. And we're filling. And that is how you do an insulin site change.